Welcome to this explainer. If you're tuning in right now, you're probably caught up in the massive wave of students dealing with the recent NIOS April 26 exam results. And look, let's just address the elephant in the room right off the bat. Since these results dropped, it has been absolute chaos. I mean, between students who unfortunately failed, those staring at super confusing acronyms like SYC on their scorecards, and others whose RL, or result later, status hasn't even updated yet, the frustration is literally off the charts. Add to that the anxiety of students who actually passed but got percentages way too low to use for college admissions, and you've got a perfect storm of stress. But hey, take a deep breath. Today, we're going to break down exactly what went wrong, decode that confusing language on your result, and most importantly, map out your immediate next steps to get your academic journey back on track.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First, result chaos explained. Then, decoding your result codes, followed by options for failing students, fixing low percentages, the reevaluation route, and finally, next steps and centers.
To start, we really have to look at the massive uproar surrounding how these exams were graded. The source material highlights incredibly widespread complaints from students who are just deeply unhappy with the evaluation process. We're talking about students claiming that the copy checking wasn't done properly, the marking was fundamentally unfair, and some are even stating that the paper was completely out of syllabus. But the controversy doesn't stop there. When these issues were brought up to authorities, the response was basically, well, if the checking was so strict and unfair, who are these students who actually scored well? And this brings us to the core of the frustration, because students are firing back with some serious allegations. According to the source, the controversy goes way deeper. There are claims that students who passed with high marks allegedly paid money to sit in separate rooms and cheat. I mean, this paints a picture of a system where students feel money is winning out over merit, leaving honest students at a severe disadvantage. It's a massive issue of alleged corruption, and it's causing a tremendous amount of distress.
All right, moving on to decoding your result codes. Let's translate some of the exam board's cryptic language to lower your cognitive load.
The most common, and frankly, the most panic-inducing code you might see is SYC. This simply stands for Subject Yet to be Cleared. If you see this right next to a subject on your result, the fundamental meaning is pretty straightforward. You haven't passed this specific subject, and you absolutely must clear it to get your final certification. But SYC isn't just a one-size-fits-all label. It actually comes in a few distinct flavors that dictate exactly what you need to study next.
As you can see, this breaks down the exact requirements for each variation of the SYC code, so you know precisely what you need to study. If your result just says SYC, well, that means you need to sit for both the theory and the practical exams for that subject again. However, if it says SYCT, that T stands for theory. You pass the practical, so you only need to retake the theory portion. On the flip side, if you see SYCP, you only need to clear the practical portion, because your theory marks were totally fine. This is absolutely vital information, right? Knowing exactly which variation of the SYC code you have ensures you don't waste precious time studying for a practical exam when you literally only need to pass the theory.
Next up, options for failing students. If you didn't pass, I totally get the stress, but let's look at the decision tree for your next academic steps.
So you essentially have two main pathways here. The first is the on-demand exam, which is held between July and September. Now, the major advantage here is speed. The results for on-demand exams are typically declared within just 45 days. So if you're in a race against time for college admissions, or you just need to submit your results somewhere urgently, this fast-track option is absolutely your best bet. On the other hand, if you aren't in a massive rush and you have a few months to spare, you can totally opt for the standard public exams scheduled for October 2026. The examination fee window is actually already open for this. Both options are completely valid. It really just depends on your timeline.
Now, if you decide that the fast-track on-demand route is the one for you, here are the exact, actionable steps to get it done. Step 1. You simply click the registration link for the specific subjects where you received an SYC. Step 2. Proceed to fill in your details and pay those examination fees. But here is the absolutely crucial part. Step 3. Once you complete the payment, you don't just get your hall ticket. You actually receive access to a PDF of specialized support material, and the source material notes that this document contains about 40 to 50 key questions. If you thoroughly prepare just those specific questions, passing the on-demand SYC exam becomes incredibly manageable, if not downright easy. It's a highly targeted way to clear your backlog.
That brings us to fixing low percentages. Let's shift our focus to the students who managed to pass but are stuck with the result they can't effectively use.
And this anchors us to one crucial number, 75%. Look, many students successfully pass their NIOS exams, but they miss this vital threshold. So why does this matter so much? Because for countless competitive exams, college admissions, and specific career pathways, a minimum of 75% is literally the baseline requirement. So if your scorecard reads pass, but your overall percentage is languishing at, say, 60 or 65%, that result might just be insufficient for your goals. You're effectively stuck.
But don't worry, there's a strategic fix for this. You have the option to take improvement exams. And the best part is, you don't have to retake the whole shebang. You can strategically choose just 1, 2, or 3 specific subjects where you know you can significantly bump up your marks. By doing this efficiently, you can raise your overall percentage right past that 75% mark. You just need to decide how many subjects will give you the boost you need and pay the open examination fee for those selected subjects. The source also points out a pretty fascinating loophole here. This on-demand option is a total lifeline for CBSE board students who have failed or are stuck waiting endlessly for their own reevaluation results, which have been heavily delayed. They too can jump right into the NIOS on-demand system to essentially save their academic year.
Now, for the reevaluation route. This is for the confident but wronged students who truly believe their paper was checked unfairly. The crucial takeaway here is that you can challenge the system directly. The window for rechecking and reevaluation is open right now. If you head over to the iOS portal, right next to the Results tab, you're going to see the option to apply for reevaluation for any specific subject. If your copy is rechecked and they find your marks should indeed be higher, your scorecard will be officially updated. And the best part? The turnaround time is surprisingly fast. Rechecking results are typically updated within just 1 month. So if you know for a fact you deserved better, absolutely take this route.
Finally, next steps and centers. Let's talk about how to choose a secure environment for your next attempt.
You know, we've just talked about all the chaos and alleged corruption surrounding the April exams, right? The claims of unfair checking, the separate rooms for cheaters. Well, when you book your next exam date, you have got to choose a secure environment to ensure a fair testing ground. And the source actually provides some fantastic insider tips on this. When you go to the NIOS website to book, check the seat availability section very carefully. You want to actively select centers located in Kendriya Vidyalaya or KVs, as well as official regional centers. Why? Because exams held in these specific locations are known to be strictly monitored and generally free from the systemic cheating issues reported elsewhere. You really want to avoid any random centers that might have a history of the exact corruption we just discussed. Empower yourself by choosing a fair battleground.
As we wrap up this explainer, we're left with a pretty significant lingering question. Will this system actually improve? The delays are undeniably systemic, and the frustration you're feeling is 100% real. Especially when you consider that the CBSE board is also dealing with massive unresolved reevaluation delays a whole month later, while these NIOS results are just fresh into the chaos. The source makes a really poignant note here. The system will likely continue to experience delays, but the voices of the students must not stop until the corruption is addressed and the system is actually fixed. So take charge of your next steps. Use the options we've laid out today, but also ask yourself and let the board know what exactly went wrong with your result. Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer, and stay focused on your next steps.